Hey you guys, I'm Missy, RNY and Mile High, which is kind of a misnomer. I do live in Colorado, but I don't live in Denver. I'm just a really big Broncos fan. So that's why I chose the name. I'm here to introduce myself. I'm scheduled for gastric bypass Roux-en-y surgery on August 28th, which is Monday. I'm really excited. I'm really terrified also. Uh, so I'd like to tell you how I got in this position to begin with. So in 2007, I weighed about 175-ish pounds. My husband was deployed, and a girlfriend and I decided to do Weight Watchers together. Get kind of fit, thin, what we felt was beautiful when our guys got home from deployment. So I did Weight Watchers, and in 4.5 months, I lost about 45 pounds. So for me, I was happy with that weight. I was doing well. I was doing basically maintenance. I was happy, healthy, having a good time. We moved from our first duty station to our second duty station. I drank the water there and instantly ended up pregnant. So, as these things go. I had my son in 2009. I had him via C-section. So when I was cleared from my, post-op, all of that stuff 6 weeks after, and they say you can kind of start doing light exercise again, I went right back to Weight Watchers because I gained quite a bit of weight with the pregnancy. So I went right back to Weight Watchers and started doing that again. They had changed the program a little bit, and it was a little bit different, but I thought, oh, no big deal. It's Weight Watchers. I could do it, no problem. I was wrong. I had a big problem. I did the program to sign. It just didn't work for me. So I thought, well, I don't know, there's something going on. I had a pretty bad bout of depression fairly soon after I had my son. We don't know if it was postpartum or if it was thyroid related, which I'll get to in a minute. But regardless, I had bad depression. So I was exercising and eating well, but I wasn't sleeping well and, new mom stuff. And so I thought, well, I'll just put it on the back burner for a little bit and we'll see, kind of get healthy and then go from there. So I went to the doctor and said, hey, I have all these depression symptoms. It was a postpartum appointment anyway. They did a bunch of blood work and they found out that my TSH was undetectable. So it was 0.005 and my T4 and T3 were through the roof. So my doctor at the time said, I can do hypothyroidism just fine, but hyperthyroidism I don't deal with very well, so I'm going to send you to an endocrinologist. So she sent me to the endocrinologist. 6 weeks later, I got into the appointment with her. I did my blood work. Everything came back, and I was completely hypothyroid. So my TSH was like, I don't remember, but it was high, and everything else was low. So I had swung completely the opposite direction. So they diagnosed me with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and thyroiditis just means your thyroid is inflamed and that it can swing back and forth between hyper and hypo, basically, as I've come to know it. So they monitored me very well. They put me on medication. We tried several medications because the first one didn't work very well, kind of didn't agree with my body, had some weird things going on, and so I did that. Well, once I got what I thought was pretty normalized on my thyroid medication, I thought, okay, we'll do Weight Watchers again. I did it again. I lost about 6 or 7 pounds. I kept losing the same 6 or 7 pounds. So I thought, well, we'll take a break. We were moving again. This time we moved to Alaska. I loved it there. Side note, if you ever get a chance to go, 100% do it. It's amazing. Sorry, there's a notification going on my phone. There we go. So, where was I? Oh, Alaska. We moved to Alaska. When we got there and got settled, I thought, okay, let's do Weight Watchers one more time. I know it works. I had super great success with it the first time. Let's try it again. So I went to Weight Watchers and I was very diligent about doing it. And I was beside myself. I could not lose weight. I would lose a little bit here and there, and then I would gain some, and lose a little bit here and there and gain some. I was eating right. I had leaders at the meeting looking at my journal, my food journal, and going, you're eating the right things. I didn't cheat or lie on my food journal. It was all these just difficult things where it was not working. I finally just kind of started to give up. I still wanted to eat healthy because I had a son and wanted to be a good example, but I got to the point where I didn't feel like I was going to lose much. Excuse me, just one second. Always water, right? So, I did all of those things, and that kind of led me to here. We've stayed eating pretty healthy. My husband was actually diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. I'm sure at some point you'll see him, but he's about this big around, so it was really weird for him to be diagnosed with diabetes, especially type 2, when it's not always, but typically it's people who are overweight usually get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and he's absolutely not. But he was diagnosed with diabetes, so we were eating really healthy then because we wanted to make sure that we could get his numbers under control to save his career and save his life. We want him around. So we have moved here to Colorado several years ago, and I was actually diagnosed 2 years ago with Graves' disease, which I know is weird because it's weird to have Hashimoto's and Graves at the same time, but I have the antibodies for both. And we didn't know. I went to the doctor because I had all these symptoms that we couldn't figure out. I had shortness of breath, really shortness of breath. I had swelling in my extremities, my legs, my feet, my hands, even my forearms were swollen, my face and my neck, everything was swollen. I mean, I'm still kind of puffy in my face and my neck, but I've gotten the swelling kind of under control now. But nobody could figure out what's wrong with me, which is kind of how it happens in my life. So I started inquiring about weight loss surgery. I wanted to know what my options were. I felt like if I could get some of the weight off, my body systems would regulate. So I did. I asked my doctor, and at first she was like, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't even know if weight loss surgery will help. I'm kind of reluctant to do it, but let me think about it, and I'll see about getting you a referral. So I said, okay. Then she said, I want to talk to your endocrinologist. I have 2 endocrinologists because no one can figure out what's wrong with me. And so they both were extremely in favor of the weight loss surgery. So they sent me to the bariatric clinic on Post at Fort Carson. And that's when I started my journey, was a year ago. So I went through all the programs. You have to go through the mental eval. You have to go through the nutrition appointments and all of your pre-op stuff. So I did all of that, and I was actually going to be scheduled for surgery several months ago, but my vitamin D was in the tank. So I don't know if you can tell because the light's kind of really bright in here, but I'm a redhead. I don't go out in the sun much. When I do, I get lobstery red. So that's why I was short on vitamin D. So it took me 3 months to get my vitamin D up to even where they would consider doing surgery. So yeah, that's how it took me that long. So I decided on gastric bypass, and one of the reasons I decided on gastric bypass is because I have really bad reflux. And so after talking with my doctor several times, we talked about it, and he said, we can do the sleeve, and we can hope that your reflux will go away in a couple of years after you have the sleeve. And I was like, I don't want to keep dealing with this for, we're talking wake me up in the middle of the night heartburn where you feel like you're going to die. Yeah, so I was like, I really don't know if I can deal with that. And he said, with your comorbidities, I would suggest RNY. So I talked about it with my mother, who's actually had duodenal switch in 2003, or duodenal switch, depending on who you ask. It doesn't, however you want to say it, we've always called it duodenal switch. But she went to Brazil and had it done there because her insurance wouldn't approve it. And so they got a really nice trip to Brazil, and they had really good health care there. She said the sanitation in the hospital there is even better than here, and she had a really good time. And so we talked about that a little bit, but I did not meet the criteria for a DS simply because I was not heavy enough. My BMI was not in the right ranges, and my doctor felt it was a little more extreme than the Roux-en-y. So that's why we decided on Roux-en-y. And yeah, so that's who I am. Sorry, this video is really long. I don't want to make it any longer. So I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm going to do a couple more videos this week leading up to my day of surgery. I'm really excited but terrified. My mom has a friend that used to be in her support group that used to say it was the intersection of terrified and excited, and that's exactly where I am. So it's really nice to meet you, and thanks for coming on my journey with me. I can't wait. I'm kind of scared. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. Bye.